Now that once I calculated several financial ratios, now I can do some interesting analysis. For example, I can examine whether the annual returns are related to return asset, uh, meaning that I can see if in theory some financial statement variables will be related to actual market returns. Okay, then how can I do so? I can use a regression model to see whether the annual returns of the companies in this data set that I have a panelist data structure will be related to the last one of total assets, of return assets. Then it is expected that return asset will be related to the market returns. Then we can see that, we can run this one and we can see if that is the case. In this case, I can see that interestingly there is a weird result of a negative relationship, meaning that when but this is not actually significant. It's not less than 0.05, but this is not expected. It might be expected that when a companies have a good return asset, then we'll have a positive market return in the next year. But in this case, in the market exchange, there is no evidence of that. Then I can do the same, but using um, other combination of lags, but it's basically the same regression. And I can do the same regression, but I can do the regression model by looking at 2 years before and see if there is a relationship of return assets in one period with 2 years market returns after that measure. Then in that case, I can see that now I have a p-value that is significant, and I can see that the coefficient is negative, meaning that when a company has, this is on average, it's not for all the company, but on average, when a company have a bad return asset, it is very likely that after 2 years the company will recover in terms of market returns. That is consistent with some research findings that the companies actually recover over time. Okay, or when the company is have a very strong return asset, it might be likely that later on in 2 years the company will go down in market returns. Okay, now I can do the same thing, but now in the same year. Okay, contemporaneously. Then here there is no relationship between return assets and actually market returns in the same period, in the same year. Now I can just consider the last years, okay, or using considering only years before 2003, just dividing the times, the period, or the time set or the data set in two parts. Then if when I run the regression using periods before 2003, I can see a strong relationship between return assets and market returns. When I run the regression considering all of the years except 2003, then I can see also a strong relationship. Then it means that 2003 has weird behavior that is just making all my regression results just not showing the relationship, the expected relationship between market returns and return asset. Here I explain more detailed results. Now I can create another variable that is the natural log of the size of total asset, and this is according to some financial famous models such as the Fama-French model, just to see if the size is related to the returns. Okay. In this case, the size is strongly related to returns in the market exchange. That means that the bigger the company, it is expected the market returns will be bigger. Okay, this is different from the research in developed markets that document that small companies usually provide higher market returns. Here is the opposite. Here I explain the results here. And then I can do some analysis about sorting and see which companies are having the highest return asset. Then I just use the gsort command to sort by annual, by year, and by return asset, and then I can just list the best companies of 2010. Okay, these are the best companies in return assets. And I can see these companies are the best in the 2010 for the return asset. Okay, then I can just calculate the DuPont analysis, the return asset 2, because I calculated the return asset. Then ROA 2 and ROA must be the same. Then I can run this. No, I have to generate this. Okay, and I can see that these are the same, that meaning that I did a DuPont analysis correctly. And then I can do further analysis. Here's just an example. I can see which company have improved in ROA from one year to the next, and I can calculate our delta ROA. That is going to be the difference from the ROA of this year minus the ROA of last year for all the companies for all the years. And then I can do a sorting about this delta, and now I can see which companies are the companies that have improved ROA in a more significant way. Then I sort by the year and the delta ROA, and then I can list them. Okay, I can list the year, the company, the return asset, and the delta if the annual is equal to 2010. And when I indicate in, is the first, only show me the first 5. Okay, here you can see that these companies are the best, that the company have improved the ROA in a more significant way. Okay, then I'm going to use this. The decode is just to change from a string variable to a numeric variable. It's create me an index for every company, a unique identifier. Then I can do some interesting graphs just to see why the return asset changes according to the 2 components of the DuPont analysis, asset turnover and profit margin. Then when I do this, I can see that the return assets for all the companies basically are increasing, or only for these companies, for Peñoles, okay, and for years greater than 2009. And I can see which is the company that is basically pushing the return asset going up. In this case, I can see this asset turnover for this company is the financial ratio that is making return asset going up, and profit margin is not influencing in return asset as asset turnover is influencing in this case, in the case of Peñoles company. Okay, I'm going to stop here for now.